I'm going to come back to this thing about you know, it being what in effect is like would be an open marketplace for very small organisations. People don't normally say that. For very small organisations, and I think we need to be, you know, it is the you know, the Tory party manifesto about how you fund things is about that, cutting rid of infrastructure, or getting rid of infrastructure organisations, and talking about giving money direct, which sounds nice, but you need to. The reality of that is, you know, those groups that are probably most disadvantaged will not be able to compete in that thing. If English is a second language, you know, how are you going to, you know, fill out those forms on, you know, compete for or whatever, you know, you're not going to be able to do that. And I also, strangely as well, I think there are some other models of how, some sort of compromise within this that I think can work quite well. I think some funders who have decided what groups they want to fund then use the expertise of that second tier or sort of infrastructure organisation to then provide, say, the IT support and health checks and things for them. So they know that, you know, they've decided what groups they want to fund, but actually they're going in and saying, you know, you can take advantage of these services from these people that we have sort of vetted and that we know will be beneficial to you. So you're not wasting your own resources trying to find a provider that you trust and will be good and know that they're not going to sort of, you know, waste your money or whatever. So there are some models that you can look at that are somewhere in between.
I think the problem with a lot of, especially small organisations, is when it comes to technical services like IT, some of the HR things you're talking about, some of the finance things, you know, they start off with a mission in life, they don't know the questions to ask. And they need to have within the sector organisations that can come in and say, you know, these are the things you could do that they probably don't even know they could do. These are the services that are available that they probably don't even know that are available. And here, as Alison was saying, you know, here are some that we know have got the right ethos and attitude that are probably a reasonable group for you to start going looking for your services. But then saying to them, okay, you've now got your money and you can make the decision of the solutions that best fit for you, because they are their own organisations, they are delivering their own services, and they are the best people, in my opinion, to decide who they should be working with and getting those. But you've got to open their eyes up in the first place.
Yeah. Right, again, yes.
I agree with what Terry said about the immediate needs for these frontline organizations. Because if you give them the money straight away, they would say, oh, I need a laptop, I need a machine, very powerful computer, and so on. But on the other hand, I found this from experience and working on sub-regional projects. Although I deliver the service directly to these small organizations, what's happening now, the second-tier organizations are actually getting the money, decide how to spend it without identifying the needs from these small front-line organizations. So I think to work more effectively, if we identify the needs first and decide how to spend the money. They need the experience from second-tier organizations, but identifying the needs, I think, is the key, and advise these organizations on the best practice in spending the money.
There's definitely something here, though, I think, for a lot of funders who are actually getting into finding ways to fund social enterprise, actually through backdoor partnerships. There's something here that we are not going to reconcile about the way funding flows to intermediary organizations and how that, to use a very strong word, perverts the marketplace that VCOs are struggling to access. I don't have a strong view on this yet. I don't know if I ever will, but there's something here that needs to be reconciled, because in in times like these, that the market tensions become, much higher, and so I think that that's an issue we're going to need to see ourselves struggle with. I know we have some things in the audience. Why don't you get last dibs in here? I'll close, and then we're going to all have a chance to chime in on these things through the spectrogram. Go ahead.
I think it's a false argument. You really have to have both. You can't operate one without the other. It's a nonsense. We've got some clients who get funding and they buy services from us, and because we have to compete with commercial providers, we've lost a contract, we weren't good enough, we've raised our game, we've got better, we provide better value and more efficient. Some of our clients are so immature as organisations, there's no way they cope with that. They're right to be exploited by the sharks. So they need that sort of support.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, they need that sort of support where we give them funded help because they just couldn't operate and go and buy stuff on the market. One without the other, waste of time.